Okay, good evening. Welcome to News from Edgemont. I am Donovan Sadiq. I'm going to give you the update on the latest shenanigans going on in the city of Moreno Valley. Happy Memorial Day weekend. It is Memorial Day weekend, and we pause for a minute to give a special thank you for those that made the ultimate sacrifice so that this country can continue and remain as great as it is. A lot of stuff is happening in the news locally. Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton swung by in Riverside, and that was a phenomenal thing. If you've been watching this page, I covered it, and it was very interesting. It's just very interesting how young people want something for free, but they do not feel that they have to contribute to the item that is given to them for free. And I asked a lot of people on the at the Bernie Sanders thing. There's been programs that gives you free education, and I took advantage of one of the programs, which was joining the military. So there are things to do that, but it's just so sad that that generation has this attitude of entitlement. And on the flip side of that, I also had to look at some people that are my age and my parents' age, and where do these young grandkids get the attitude of entitlement? Well, if mom and dad and grandma and grandpa give them everything that they want or always going to bail them out, where do you think that comes from? Something to think about. And I brought that up to a person and said, hey, you know, I'm very sure you're raising your grandkids or helping to raise them. So when there's no struggle, why wouldn't they think everything is free? Why shouldn't everything be free? They never had to worry about that. They don't know what it is to go, you know, a lot of them do not know what it is to go home hungry. Back in the days, you just didn't get on the welfare and it was okay and it was cool. And they give you, you know, all the food stamps you want and things like that. And I can speak from personal experience that, you know, I mean, welfare is a temporary thing to get you by. I just wish I can get $100 worth of food stamps. I mean, a lot of my friends, we wish we can get stuff for free, but we know in this life, nothing is for free. But anyway, that's my little commentary. It was very good to see thousands of people, a lot of students there, but got a big problem with them thinking that everything is free. Somebody's got to pay the price. Somebody's got to pay the price. But on the flip side of that, also rich people, you got to pay your fair share of taxes as well as everybody else. It just doesn't make sense. But don't let me get on my soapbox. That's what I do on this show. The Edgemont cleanup was yesterday, and I'm going to tell you, it is very good to see the city come together. We had volunteers from all walks of life come and help us clean up on the I-215, the old 215 highway, which is the historic 395. The big dedication thing is tomorrow on Memorial Day itself, and it was just so nice to be out there and seeing everybody come together. Some of the people that were there, Habitat for Humanity, Corey Jackson's mentoring program, kids were there. There's a lot of young people there, and I was very, very surprised to see a lot of young people. But again, there was a lot of us old heads that were there as well too. Election time is coming up, and guess what? If you are running for election, everybody that really actually puts their money where their mouth is and actually cares about the city was at the election. Running for mayor, Mr. Price, even though he has a bad knee, he was there. LaDonna Jimson, it's her district. Of course, she was there, and she got in there. I mean, she was in there digging. I can't take anything away from her. I mean, she was almost as good as Jesse Molina when he came out in the first one. Melissa Martinez, who organized the event, she was there as well, directing and producing it. Dave Marquez, he showed up. Was there. And Melissa Martinez and Dave Marquez recently received Volunteers and Citizens of the Year award. I believe it's one or the other. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it was Volunteers of the Year or in Citizen. I'm going to give them both of it, so who cares. Dr. Thin was there. She's running for mayor. She was out there pulling weeds, doing everything that she can do. I was there. And Mildred Bailey was there. Absent from all of that was Brian Lowell. He's running for District 3. Victoria Baca, you know, she lives in that district, but she wasn't at the first one, and she definitely wasn't at the second one. Jesse Molina, I'm not sure exactly why he wasn't there, but I'm gonna give you people a little pass because it is the holidays. They might have had things already planned. Mr. Gutierrez, the mayor, wasn't there. Even if he was going to stop by for a few minutes, he should have done that. Denise Fleming wasn't there, of course, and I believe the Daryl Peden had excuse of school, but I'm gonna give him this. His mentoring program was there in his stead, so I'm gonna have to, depending on how you look at it. Either you can say he wasn't there physically, but I look at it and he did send a proxy by having, I believe it was like 12 to 15 young men and women there doing the work. So that was really, really good. So it was a great event. Again, Melissa Martinez is becoming a very threatening force in this district. And it is really unfortunate that she does not want to run for office, because I believe that if she ran in this election cycle, she could possibly win if she would get out there a little bit more. But I'm going to keep pushing her. So we need people who don't talk the talk but walk the walk. And I think she's one of those people. I recently went up to Sacramento and I met with Jose Medina, and his stance on the warehouse issue is the stance of many politicians. They want to sit the fence, and it's election season, so he doesn't want to rock the boat. So he wants jobs, but he wants the right jobs. Again, it's a politician's answer, and basically that means he's not going to give you an answer. And for me, that means you're for the status quo, which means you're going to lose a lot of votes. But the good thing about that was I have his chief of staff's number. She followed up with me and asked me how everything was going. Everything's going great. And I would have to say, now that I have a direct voice with her, because I can't get to anybody at the local office. I have to go all the way to Sacramento. And I'm keeping her imposed, and I keeping her informed. And I told her the problem is that we don't see enough of what Jose Medina is doing locally, and that's a big problem that I put out there. And him hanging out with Chevron Cheryl Brown, who received $3.2 million from Chevron, and a little bit about the Chevron Cheryl Brown race and the Eloise Reyes race. I was talking to a bunch of friends, and somebody who wholeheartedly supports Chevron Cheryl Brown, which is also Johnny Come Lately, Denise Fleming. But she didn't say this, but there's a bunch of people that we were in, and I'm sitting there, and they happened to mention that not Denise Fleming, but Cheryl Brown is alluding, and like I said, this is just speculation, but I heard this directly from somebody, but it did not come from Cheryl Brown. This is not Cheryl Brown's words directly. This is what I heard. Chevron Cheryl is saying that it is important that she keeps her seat, because if Eloise Reyes gets the seat, then it's going to be it's a Hispanic seat, and then we can never get it back. And I thought that was the stupidest thing I had ever heard, because one of the lowest denominators you can use in election politics is the race card. And when a black person uses the race card, I mean, to me, in my opinion, that is the lowest of low, because we know what it's like to be disenfranchised and things like that. And my neighborhood is predominantly Hispanic. I live in the New Edgemont area neighborhood, and it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I love the Spanish culture. I love the Latin culture. I love them. I mean, I grew up, like I said, I'm part Filipino. My best friend in the world is Filipino. He's my brother from another mother. Whatever, who cares? Again, this is a person who comes from a different era. And I'm not saying things are all peachy keen and kosher, but when somebody of that era uses that type of divisive demeanor, it really, really is a new low. I hope Eloise Reyes gets that seat. I will do everything in my power to support her. A good example here in the Edgemont area, neighborhood, mostly Hispanic. Victoria Baca has greatly disgraced this area and the representation of it. If I run, I do and will get a lot of Hispanic votes. I mean, these are my neighbors. These are people that I live with. So what's the big deal? Who cares? People are people. Remember that song by The Clash? People are people, so why should it be? Well, it was the 80s. If you're not from the 80s, you wouldn't know anything about that. But that was a great song. But The race card being used in an election cycle, like I said, this is not Cheryl Brown's direct words. This is what somebody said, was told to him, so it's a third party. And I'm just repeating what I heard from that third party. Okay, so, but speaking of Denise Fleming, I'm going to show you right now a picture. This is a postcard that Denise Fleming is using as she is going to the schools and she is dropping these off in the teacher's lounge. Now, a lot of you out there are probably saying, well, what's the big deal? So what? Well, the big deal is this. Number one, I would think that that would be a conflict of interest because she's using her position as a school board member to campaign for political office. Now, the problem with that, in my opinion, is that gives her an unfair advantage to other mayoral candidates that are running for mayor, because they can't go into the school district and distribute their propaganda and their political agendas. And this was brought to my attention by a teacher who wants to remain anonymous. And so what I did was I contacted the school board and I told them, what is the situation with this, whatever. They were going to get back to me. They wanted to see the postcard. Now I have it. I'm going to take that there Monday, and I'm going to talk to the person that I talked to on Friday. And I'm going to ask for them to, if these allegations are true, which I believe they are, to reprimand Miss Fleming. And again, this goes and shows you again the character of a person who wants to run for the city and wants to be mayor. Now, in February, I said that I went to a function that I thought was for unity and celebrating Black History Month that turned into a Denise Fleming fundraiser. But everybody attacked me because I spoke the truth, because that's exactly what happened. Now, I'm putting this up, and I went through the proper channels, and I reported that to me, this is a conflict of interest. I think it's in bad taste. That, I mean, if you were an employer and a employee of yours is using your time and your money or is on your time and is campaigning for another job, you wouldn't be very happy about that. And again, I'm all for about being fair. I'm not a mayoral candidate, so I don't have anything in that fight. But what I am doing is making sure that if you're going to be doing that, I want it to be fair to everybody. I mean, I want the Peden brothers to be able to put their thing in there. Molina, Gutierrez, they should all be able to campaign in the school district, because Ms. Fleming is going to do that. But if we do that, it takes away from what the school is about. You know, there are certain things that are supposed to be off limits. Now, this lady claims to be Dr. Denise Fleming, just like Dr. Gutierrez claims to be a doctor. These people are in education. But it seems like they have no ethics. Did they not take ethics courses? I mean, there's some things that are just off limits you shouldn't go to at all. Now, Chevron Cheryl using the race card, maybe she's just ignorant. I don't know. But the fact is, as people that are in the school district, you know, fair is fair, and I try to be fair. People say that, you know, me attacking Jimson is not fair, but who else am I supposed to attack? She's my representative. I mean, or criticize. She's my representative. Why is it okay for me to attack Victoria Baca, who was my representative, and not LaDonna Jimson? That's an example. But I'm reporting this for the simple fact that I'm trying to show those would-be voters out there of a character flaw. And Miss Fleming is known to do things like this. And there's an agenda. She is part of an agenda. She is a big supporter of Cheryl Brown, and I would not be surprised when we look at the 460s that she is being funded by Cheryl Brown and the people that are into this warehouse madness. So if you see this postcard, be on the lookout. It's out there, and I'm going to follow this story up and let you know how that turns out. Remember, July 1st, we're going to do the hot seat. The hot seat is going to be all the candidates that want to come on the show have committed. The only people that haven't and won't come on the show is, again, Denise Fleming, Brian Lowell, Mr. Molina, Mayor Gutierrez, and Victoria Baca. I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to keep saying it. You guys are invited to come to the hot seat so we can ask you the real questions of what's going on. If Victoria Baca, recall Victoria Baca. If you want your seat back, please come on the show and please explain to us, what have you been doing in the last 2 years? and why we should bring you back to represent this district against other candidates that might be in that. I want to talk about the Tuskegee Airmen membership. We have the Buford Johnson chapter out here. Very, very important issue to me. I'm going to support that as much as I can, even though I have a lot of liability on that because Denise Fleming's husband is currently the chapter president. But I'm not going to let that stop me from being contributory because if you don't want to be in politics, you shouldn't let your spouse run if you don't like your spouse is being criticized. That's just my thing about it. And if I do decide to run, I know I'm going to be criticized. And I know it's tough. You know, nobody likes to be criticized. But if you're doing what you're supposed to, I guess you wouldn't have to worry about that now, would you? So the Tuskegee Airmen chapter is looking for new members. If you're interested, please contact Jackie Jimson. He's the outreach officer. You could contact him. I'll put some information up here where you can do that, or just contact this page, contact me, and I'll let you know how it goes. We're setting up a program for those that are interested. Well, at least I'm setting up a program to where if you're interested in being a pilot and you want to get your private pilot, or if you just want to fly, it doesn't have to be military. You just want to fly. I'm setting up a program where you can do that, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money, and you'll get your associate degree at the same time if you follow these steps. So if you're interested, please let me know. The animal shelter, Felipe, the official cat of News from Edgemont, and Belle and Misty, they all came from the shelter, and our shelter needs your help. We have asked Representative Lodana to put a moratorium on what's going on over there in the animal shelter. Again, nobody listens to us. They do what they do what they want to do. So that's pretty much how everything rolls here. One of the biggest things that just happened last week was it was found out in December of last year that there were overpayments in the health benefits of council members current and past. And rumor has it that Jesse Molina is trying to get an agreement to where he can pay $60 a month for what he owes. And if he can't win re-election to mayor or win election to mayor, he wants the thing to be forgiven altogether. That's a rumor that I heard recently, and I'm going to follow that up and see if that's true. But the question I have is, how does an interim attorney determine who pays what and what is forgiven and what is not forgiven? Who is this interim attorney? Who has given him this kind of power? If you owe the IRS money, or if Donovan owed the city money, I'm very sure they're going to, let me set up a payment plan, but I'm going to have to pay that money back. And you would think the right thing to do is to pay that money back. From what I've heard is, of course, excuse me, Price and Jimson have agreed to pay it, but Mayor Gutierrez has said that, all five of them agreed to repay the money. But, of course, the backyard deals, some people are trying to back out of that. And we need to hold their feet to the fire. I don't know why they did not look at their bill and say, wow, this is an overpayment. Let me question that. It's just so funny how they didn't say anything about an overpayment, but now, or an underpayment. It's just amazing. But I do believe, it's my opinion, that they should pay that money back. And that's if, ands, and no buts about it. So we have a lot of stuff to do, but I also want to talk about, to close it out real quick, that we have to really take seriously what's going on in this city and who we're electing. We need to get the majority in that council to get this city going in the right direction. Recently, Sports Authority has gone out of business. And right now they are 10% discount right there on Day Street, in the Moreno Valley side of Day Street. And they're going out of business. So as we get one business coming in, another leaves or something happens. So we need to get new ideas and new thinking up in the city council. And we need to do something drastic. I want you to imagine this. What do you think would happen if I got elected and put on that council? I would be asking for documents. I want to know, me personally, I want to know what happened with this corruption. Not that there's any more corruption going on, but you know what? I'm very skeptical. And if knowing what I know, if the city's smart, they're going to try to seal up all documents so that nothing could be traced or found or whatever, or they're going to try to destroy them. And my question to Jimson and Mr. Price is, you've sat on that dais for 2 years now. What have you done to explain to us, the people who sent you there to fight for us, what happened in this city? You guys don't talk about it. You get along just to get along. And I don't think that's fair to us as the electorate. Something to think about. I'm going to go in a little bit more in depth a little bit more later, but just wanted to give you a quick update. That's what's been happening this weekend. There's a lot more coming down the pipe, and we got to do better than this, people. We just have to do better. I'm Donovan Sadiq. This has been Update News from Edgemont.